up, everybody? Welcome back to Spider Man Month. And when Spider Man fans debate the greatest adaptation of the character, one title is mentioned more than almost any other. That is The Spectacular Spider Man. My personal favorite Spider Man show, and probably still my favorite Spider Man thing out there, but there's also Across the Spider Verse, so I don't know. Premiering in 2008, this series arrived during a unique moment in Spider Man history. Sam Raimi's trilogy had already become legendary, and audiences were still waiting for the next cinematic era. Rather than simply retelling familiar stories, The Spectacular Spider Man really reimagined Spider Man's earliest years with incredible writing, character development, and long term storytelling. Although it lasted only 2 seasons, the series has earned a reputation as one of the greatest superhero cartoons ever produced. Its cancellation remains one of the biggest disappointments in comic book animation, leaving fans wondering what could have been had the story continued. More than 15 years later, many fans still consider it the definitive version of Spider Man. And while I say, on a note, they had stuff planned for 5 seasons, and they got canceled at 2. And they were going to do more mature direct to DVD movies for the series. But unfortunately, the cancellation happened, and it is one of the most painful things to happen ever. I still look back on Spectacular Spider Man would have easily been the best Spider Man cartoon, and in my opinion, it still is, but there would have been nothing to ever come close to it. But unfortunately, good things always end early and bad stuff run long. Just look at Teen Titans Go. And unlike many Spider Man adaptations that begin after Peter has already become an experienced hero, this particular Spider Man follows Peter Parker during his early months as Spider Man, which I think is a cool idea. Still attending high school, Peter struggles to balance homework, friendships, family, romance, and his growing responsibility as New York's newest, youngest, and most scrutinized hero. Every decision has consequences. Missing class affects his grades, being late hurts his relationships, trying to save the city often means sacrificing his own happiness. What else? The show just brilliantly captures what has always made Spider Man just so unique, so relatable, so lovable to people everywhere of any generation. And Peter Parker never stops paying the price for doing the right thing. And as Peter Parker grows into his role as Spider Man, he faces some cool villains gallery. Let's go down. Let's say Green Goblin, probably my favorite version of Green Goblin ever. Doc Ock is amazing. Venom was fine. Not my favorite, but still pretty cool. Sandman, amazing. Electro, didn't really care for him too much. Rhino, actually kind of awesome. Mysterio was pretty cool. Craven the Hunter was okay. Let's see. Vulture was fine. I do think Shocker was really cool. Shocker's actually really cool in this show. And then there's Tombstone, bruh. Like Tombstone is the goat. Then eventually Silvermane happens. Bruh, it's a lot. Like it's actually a lot. Then each villain really evolves naturally, like throughout the series of appearing for only a single episode. So you have like each villain has their introduction episode, and then every now and then there'll be like something with more than one, or one villain will show back up, and it's just amazing how they do it. And this is definitely, in my opinion, like the perfect Peter Parker. Like this is, whenever I think of who's the perfect Peter Parker, it's this show. And Josh Keaton is amazeballs. So yeah, get at me. And when I think about certain things about this show, oh my god, it's so well casted, so well voice acted, so well animated. I know the art style is a little more to be desired. I know the art style is anyone's favorite. It's not my favorite. If anything, if you took the storytelling, the writing, and everything else about the show and gave it like the '90s art style with like a cleaner look, that would have been the perfect Spider-Man show, easily. But what separates the Spectacular Spider Man from many other adaptations is its understanding of Peter Parker. Peter isn't simply awkward, he isn't simply confident, he's a little bit of both, which he is kind of in the comics, believe it or not. He's intelligent enough to solve impossible scientific problems while still making believable teenage mistakes, and he's funny without becoming obnoxious, which is very hard to do for a character like Spider Man. He's vulnerable without becoming weak. Most importantly, the writers understand that Peter Parker's personal life is every bit as important as Spider Man's battles. That is a very good tussle, and that balance is what he always It's what always made Spider-Man great. Peter Parker religiously has trouble paying the rent. He has trouble with class. He has trouble balancing romance. He has trouble, hell, even holding a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, Spider Man is the most relatable superhero. And someone said something, it was one of the writers a long time ago, said, anything potentially that could happen bad in the Spider Man story can happen. That's how bad it is. Spider Man, no matter what it is, someone could die in a car accident, someone could die from cancer, someone can get shot and not die, but maybe get some poisoning from the metal. Anything crazy like that can happen in a Spider Man story. Like, that's just what it is. And the incredible character writing I was discussing, where it's like perhaps the show's greatest like strength is the very clever, very creative, very innovative writing. Nearly every supporting character receives some form of meaningful development. Relationships evolve very naturally, the friendships change, romance becomes complicated, the villains grow alongside Peter, which is very rare, by the way. And instead of resetting after every episode, every decision carries consequences throughout the series. That's very hard to do in a show like this. And it just brought the world to life. It was such a live, vibrant universe that gave us everything we could have possibly wanted from the show. It is so darn good, but the world building, the characterization, the development, heck, even the violence can get a little there sometimes. The Spider Man action is really good. It does so much with such little time. 26 episodes is not a lot of time to do what they did, and somehow they pulled it off. That is the genius of Brandon Vietti and Greg Weisman. Those two are legendary, in my opinion, for superhero animation, even though they get did dirty more than anybody else, in my personal opinion. Now, one of the reasons fans continue praising the show is its incredible gallery. I don't think any villain in the show is particularly bad. Maybe Electro. I don't really like Electro's characterization in the show, but he's still really cool and good. Now, they all have their own feeling. They all have a nice origin. And let's just say, like I said, I think Green Goblin might be my favorite version of the character. Steve Bloom kills it. Steve Bloom kills it as Doc Ock. Not Doc Ock, as Goblin. I can't remember who voices Doc Ock, but he's really good too. And I do love the fact that his transformation is so believable. Like the way they animated the stuff sometimes, like the way they animated Lizard's first transformation, the way they animated Doc Ock's like little chip problem with the arms, the way Green Goblin just does anything, it is amazing. I do will say the thing about Venom is the rivalry is so personal and deep that it actually works. I think that Vulture is just cool. I think Rhino's just fun. I think Clancy Brown does a great job. I do love Sandman, and I love the fact that the Sandman resolve thing happens. It's just a good episode. I really like the episode. Like, I think every villain stands out on their own in their own way, whether you like the villain or not. And I think the best part about this show is that as great as Spider-Man is, the villains are just as good. So whenever any interaction happens with him and any villain, there's really it's bliss. It's just straight up bliss. And like again, leaving out Tombstone would be crazy. Hell, even leaving out Hammerhead would be crazy. Like every villain for the most part is damn good. Black Cat is she's fun. She's so fun too. Like Silvermane's cool, you know what I mean? Like each episode has something. I know they were planning for Carnage. There's an episode where he goes into the prison, I believe, as Peter Parker, and you see a guy who has like red curly hair. That was supposed to be Cletus Cassidy. That really was supposed to be Cletus Cassidy. So they were working on how they were going to do Carnage. I'm very intrigued to see how they would have done Carnage because that would have been interesting. Because even a '90s show really couldn't do Carnage really how they could have done him because Carnage is crazy. So you know, what am I missing on this little review here? I'd say the action is great. We can't talk about Spider Man, talk about the action. I think this is some of the smoothest, cleanest Spider Man action we've ever gotten in television. I think that one of my favorite sequences in this entire show is when he is fighting the Sinister Six in his black suit. And I remember me and my brother were like, "Oh, he stopped talking. He's just kind of going in. He's snapping. He's slapping them with each other. They got them doing this. He's about to drop Rhino and Electro, hit my man Sandman with Shocker's little like thing, like the thing." And my brother was like, "Dang, he really snapped on this joint. He was going to like, I think it was like hit Doc Ock with his own thing or something, and like Stacy had to stop him. But then he wakes up and he's like, "Yo, I have no memory of this." Me and my brother yelled at the screen back then. We was like, "This is crazy. This was the craziest we've ever seen ever." And then wow, what else? There's so many good scenes in this show, dog. There's so many good fight scenes in this show. Like, I do say, I loved the master planner nod. Like the fact that Gwen's there and the water's rising, he's stuck, and he actually does like, yo, they did the master planner. Like I started snapping, because it's a cool comic. It's a very cool, famous comic that they borrowed from. Hell, Spectacular Spider-Man even borrowed some shots from the Raimi comics. Raimi movies. They do so many things. There's so many things they do in this show that like you're just like, oh, I remember that from Spider Man 2. That's from Spider Man 1. That's from this thing. That's from this thing. It's very, very good on the animation, the action. Like punches are felt, dodges, swings, some kicks are felt. When he webs someone in the face, that athleticism, it's just so smooth and clean that it still holds up. Like anytime he does something clever, like grab something with the web and throw it back at somebody, or actually just kick someone, or like it's a it's a good it's good, bro. The fluidity of the combat might be some of the most precise. If you've never watched Spectacular Spider-Man, like what are you doing? Like you should probably sit down and watch Spectacular Spider-Man. Like do that, bro. And I do think the action holds up remarkably well even then. Now, I will say I still love this show. I fell in love with it when it first aired. If you ask a longtime Spider-Man fan what animated series deserves another season, 90s kids would say the 90s show. But I do feel like a lot of people who have seen Spectacular Spider-Man in the 90s show would say Spectacular Spider-Man. That's usually a big answer. And it was caused it wasn't even caused by poor quality. It was actually some complicated rights issues because the whole Marvel Sony Disney thing was going on right around that time when season two was airing, and that unfinished story has only strengthened its legacy. And many fans still hope that the journey will continue. It legally can't. I did something on this not that long ago, looking up things on why Spectacular Spider-Man theoretically couldn't come back, and I just think it's pretty much impossible. I was like, but Disney, you could figure out something. Like, if you could bring back X Men '97, like I do think they could bring back Spectacular Spider Man. The rights thing is very, very, very blurry and flaky and confusing. But I know that that's what ended up getting Spectacular Spider Man canceled, and ultimately getting us Ultimate Spider Man, which just isn't as good. I think Ultimate Spider Man kind of sucked. So I didn't finish it. So I really can't review the show that I've never seen. And it's so unfortunate because I wish there was a way. I think Brandon Vietti and Greg Weisman would love nothing more than to bring back Spectacular Spider Man and finish it. But unfortunately, I just don't think it can happen. It was cool to see him show up in Across the Spider Verse. I was so hyped when I saw that. And that the fact that they actually got Josh Keaton back to voice him for that little scene is crazy to me. Like that is really crazy to me. But I do think Spectacular Spider-Man, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, holds up to this day. If anything, the Spectacular Spider-Man has become even more respected. Its writing is still clean. The pacing is great. Character development rivals many live-action superhero shows and movies. Even after the years of it being gone, new audiences will watch Spectacular Spider-Man and love it. I think that the Spectacular Spider-Man succeeds because it understands that simple truth that Spider-Man isn't great because he can swing. He's great because Peter Parker never stops trying to do the right thing, even if it costs him everything. And that's a line that's even brought up in Brand New Day. So they clearly understand what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man, because that is something that just is for some reason hard to do with people. And the teen drama is weird, but it's good. The romance, the comedy, all of it. Though the story ended far too soon, its legacy continues to grow, right? And I think that's the best part about it. And sometimes greatness isn't really measured by how long the series runs. It's measured by how unforgettable it became. And it was very hard to forget Spectacular Spider-Man. Now, I do want to throw out some of my favorite things about the show. I think Ed Asner as Uncle Ben, G'd up. Intervention is a beautiful episode. I remember when I was watching it and he was doing like the black suit thing where he rips the black suit off in the bell tower, but it does it and it consumes him. Like that's new. And then he goes to this whole psychological mental thing with Uncle Ben to help him get back to who he is. And the line that stuck with me to this day is "You're the disease, they're the cure." Was one of the coolest things at the time. I do think that the whole Venom thing that came in the beginning of season two, and they're like fighting in the school and all that. I always thought that that is where they got the idea for the high school fight in Amazing Spider-Man, because it just felt so there. I do love the fact that like a lot of the side characters are good. Like he dates Liz Allen for a little bit. They made her Hispanic for the show, but it doesn't affect the show in any way, shape, or form. Randy's just as cool as he always is in any comic. Flash is a dick, but he's so awesome. Harry goes to his things. I will say, as far as Harry, because I want to lean into that, the fact that they managed to slip a drug problem into this kid show and did it well, I'm still impressed by that to this day. Because y'all slid a whole ass drug problem into this show that this 16-year-old kid is dealing with. Not only was it a drug problem, it was teen drug issues. And that's why the whole "the help he needs" thing was going around. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy. But even still, it is one of the most crazy things. That whole Green Goblin thing, when it's like the goblin disappears forever. I was like, this man, Osborn, is a scumbag, bro. A straight up scumbag. Now, I will also say that some other favorite moments of mine is the fact that Captain Stacy just knows he's Spider Man. Like Captain Stacy just knows, yo, and it's just amazing pretty much every time. I do love that every villain has their chance to shine, that they show up. It's great. I think Aunt May is great too. I think she does the best at what she's supposed to be, which is being Aunt May. I do love that this show kind of gave Gwen more to do. They made Gwen way more interesting before Spider Gwen happened, because the Betty Veronica thing is so clear with Gwen and MJ early on and all that other stuff that I feel like they didn't really Betty Veronica them. I think they just did their own thing. And I think that's what made Gwen so much more likable and spectacular Spider Man than she ever was before. MJ is phenomenal because Vanessa Marshall is the GOAT. Also, Lacey Chabert is a great Gwen, too. So that's not like on Lacey Chabert, but like Vanessa Marshall as MJ is so clutch. She's just so clutch. Like there's no one else that could have captured that free spirited MJ the way she did in Spectacular Spider-Man. Oh man, the show is casted so well, it's voice acted so well. It's just a great show, man. There's so many other great moments in this show that I just like, bruh. Like what Osborne did, like the reveal of what Osborne did that night in the first season. I don't know how I did it so fast, but whatever. It's all good, bro. It's all good out here. I think Spectacular Spider-Man is phenomenal. I'm gonna end this here. This is pretty much going to be the last video before Spider-Man month comes to an end with Brand New Day coming out this weekend. And I will be dropping my review for Brand New Day pretty much this weekend when it comes out. So be on the lookout for that. And I got some other projects that I'm thinking about putting out down the line that I think some of you guys would enjoy. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for liking, commenting, subscribing whenever you can. I wish you guys could do it more often. I want my channel to blow up. But I've been having a good time. Like Supergirl month was fun, even though Supergirl was kind of a letdown. I've had just as much fun doing Spider-Man month. So thank you guys for bearing with me. So With all that being said, I'm signing out. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one.